Thank you, Khan. All right, so my name's Jason. I'm here from, oh wait, is the live stream working? That's my hack project for the hackathon, is the live stream for everyone who's not able to attend in person. So hello to everyone watching on the live stream on YouTube. Monthly Music Hackathon is an event that's been going for maybe since 2012 here in New York City. And a couple years ago, we formed a nonprofit called Music Community Lab to keep these events going. And this is it's been actually a few months since we've done a monthly music hackathon, so we're really excited for this one. And just a show of hands, how many people have ever attended a hackathon before? So maybe less than half of the room. So that's really exciting. That for a lot of people, this is our first ever hackathon, and this is kind of unlike other hackathons in that this is not a competitive event. We're just really here to learn and explore the theme of experiential music. And then anyone who is volunteering, we're a volunteer-run organization. Just a show of hands for people who are helping make the event happen. We have like 25 of us who are involved in making the event happen, and if you'd like to join us, you are welcome to do so. So our mission is to support music research, experimentation, education, and creation in New York City by bringing communities together and fostering collaboration. So people in this room, I imagine, how many people do music? Just a show of hands. That's great. That's something that's bringing us all together. And how many people do experiments with technology or other tools? Interesting. So there's like an interesting overlap there, and people. How many do design projects? A lot of people with kind of interesting overlapping backgrounds. So that's part of what we're here to do, is just bring communities together and share ideas. These are some of our principles: music above all, and we want this to be a safe environment for innovation and experimentation. So that's just a little bit of kind of the flow of this event. This is an all-day hackathon where we're going to start in a moment with guest speakers. Then we'll move into brainstorming for projects that you might want to work on over the course of the day, meeting more new people and perhaps forming collaborative groups and sharing ideas. And then hacking begins. We also have some workshops. So there's a workshop in visual music at 2 p.m. and a workshop on environmental sensors at 3:30 p.m. More info on those in just a moment. These are just some photos of workshops that we've done at previous events. And then at the end of the day, if you made something, you're invited to share what you worked on, whether it's a demo or a performance. We'll send out a sign-up sheet for that. And we also have some incredible guest performances coming up at the end of the day as well. So that's at 7 p.m. So it's not a ton of time to hack, and we want to definitely get moving here. So yeah, just an overview of the schedule. We're about to do talks. After a quick intro from Alan Zimmerman, and then a quick intro from Weave, our generous host. So let's give a big thank you to everyone here at Weave for sharing this space with us. So one of the founders, we've reached out and invited us to do this, and that's part of what sparked the event. So it's really a generous use of space and amazing people here who are helping us make the event happen. When you're ready, we're going to post this to share your hack projects at the end of the day. If you want to take a screenshot of it now, we'll have it up later as well. The 2 p.m. workshop, the workshops are totally optional. If you're engrossed in a hack project, like just keep hacking. That's great too. But we have a workshop at 2 p.m. from Alan Zimmerman. We're going to hear a little bit more from him in just a minute, and David Liu as well. And then a 3:30 workshop with Kyle Luntz on environmental sensors connecting live audio with Pure Data and Arduino. We're iterating on our approach to pizza. We have pizza coming at 5 p.m. So in the meantime, like Russ and Daughters is open downstairs. We may still have some bagels and other healthy snacks provided by Weave. Weave is a very healthy company. You'll hear a little bit more about why in a moment. And the pizza is provided by Spotify. So a big thank you to Spotify providing the pizza, as well as the live captioning. We have Stan, the stanographer, who's typing right here so that everyone can hear. Right, and then we have this incredible lineup of guest performances coming up at 7 p.m., interspersed with demos of what people worked on over the course of the day. So don't forget to sign up to demo. We'll remind you later as well. And join the Wi-Fi. And in case anyone has not found the bathrooms, they're outside of this room, down the hallway. There will be signs directing you to the bathrooms, and there's water. Be sure to stay hydrated. And we're Music Hackathon on Twitter, all the social networks, some of them more active than others. We'll post this more later, but for now, I want to introduce J. Alan Zimmerman.
Do I just click through? Is this me? Okay, good. So this is web stream, but not my notes?
Oh, right. Let's do your
It's
speaker.
okay, I don't need the notes.
Okay.
All right.
You sure?
Speaker mic. So I just click through? Oh, yes. Hello, can you hear me? Thumbs up, yes, okay. So I'm deaf, so I appreciate if you give me thumbs up on things like that. So I'm not sure what you're seeing. Okay, so I'll go back to the other one. Okay, sorry, I'm also tall. So I'm just going to say a quick hello here. When we started talking about doing this event and came up with this word, experiential music. So that is what I hope you're going to investigate today. What is experiential music? To me, it is a heightened experience of the music where you're really here in the now, where you are living with the music, and it's sort of around you in a different way than if you're just watching a performance. For someone like me, who is a composer, became deaf, my experience is going to be limited if I can't get in the door. So the first step to letting someone like me in the door is, of course, to have captioning, which, thanks to Stanley, the stenographer, is happening right here. So those of you who don't know what captioning is, this is called cart captioning. And you see a little example how that works. You can use remote devices. We've had a lot of expansion with captioning in the last few years since I've been really advocating for it, since we had the phones come along and we could do wireless captioning. So this lets people like me in the door, but I want you to use your creative and brilliant minds to think, how can we go further than just making it accessible? How can we turn accessibility accommodations into art forms? Because that, I believe, is the next step and will lead to more of an experience. So you may go to an opera or something and see a super title screen like this. This is from my incredibly deaf musical a few years back. So we'll start with the convention of we have words up here and everyone's going to look at it. But I decided to play with that. What if we flip the paradigm here and I turn that into the character of my own deafness? So now the caption screen is talking back to me, and now the hearing audience is forced to actually look at the words. Now the words can have more character than just regular Arial or Helvetica or whatever font you have. And then through the piece, the words and words and the invasion of deafness got bigger and bigger until it takes over the whole space. And this, of course, is using some early forms of projection mapping to integrate the text. So I would really like to see you, at least if we can have one or two people who know how to code, who know how to play with text. I would really encourage you to use these tools. So many apps and devices have tools. So Google has created this app, which I'm using right now to compare if it's faster than Stanley. It's faster, but way less accurate than Stanley. So that's why we need humans. But Google, this is called Live Transcribe. I would also encourage all of you to get out your phones right now. If you have an Android device, you can download Live Transcribe for free, and that way, if you want to talk with me later, speak into your own phone and show me the text. Because we're not just changing art, we're changing society. So we can share the responsibility of having a conversation. This is the GitHub if you want to explore how Google is incorporating their big speech brain into the device. Full disclosure, I do consult for Google, but I would not tell you about this if it sucked. Okay. Secondly, a lot of companies are getting to this space. You'll have Microsoft, Cortana, Translator, other tools. You can check them out. Full disclosure, my son works for Microsoft. Apple, if you have an iPhone, then you can use Siri. If you pair it with an app called Big, and when you speak in here, then the words will come out big and people can read them. You also have Ava. I was a beta tester for Ava. Otter. Apple, I own tons of Apple products, but they haven't paid me anything yet. So if you work with Apple, please invite them to use me. Later today, I'm going to be doing a workshop on visual music. And this is an outgrowth, a direct outgrowth of these hackathons. And this is another Google product, Seeing Music, but we're going to give you the code and you can create your own. You don't have to use Google. So this event today is sort of a result of when I came and gave a speech at a visual music hackathon where I basically said all current music visualizers suck, and here's why. And I was very grouchy that day. Hopefully I'm in a better mood right now. And this is where I met David Liu, who's going to be performing tonight. Where's David? There you are, there you are. Fabulous, fabulous coder, performer, inventor, I would say. He is the one that created some of the code that Google ended up using, and hopefully they gave you credit for. So I'm going to give you a talk later on how this can be integrated so that visual music is actually getting less sucky. It's getting really exciting, but we need to go to the next level. Another way I would like you to think is to think about physical space. We have so many flat screens in our life. How can we incorporate where we really are, where our bodies really are? This is an experiment we did in another hackathon where we got the Emmy musical robots. They came from Boston and New Jersey, put them together, and I tried to hack them into an orchestra. So here I am in the blabbing like I'm doing right now. But when we have these objects played by robots, then we can explore how can we make this more exciting if it doesn't have to be in a position for a human player to hit. So that's why everything is rotated forward, because now it becomes a visual experience of music. The last way I would like to encourage you to think is think about physical space. We're using, of course, this is again early projection mapping, turning one real window into 3 windows. There's the illusion revealed, of course. There's only one real one in the middle. But this was taking all these visualizers and trying to change the space. So if you are involved in augmented reality, if you know how to do 3D design, I would encourage you to start playing with this and think about how we can bring it into the real world. I was going to do a whole bunch of things with the windows, but that didn't quite work out. But this is how I did it before. Okay, that is it from me. I'm very, very excited to hear all of our speakers and get their opinions on what experiential music is and how can we take this to a higher level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. And now, Con from Weave with a little bit about how the work that Weave does overlaps with our goals here at Experiential Music Hackathon.
Hello, hello. Hi, guys. I'm Con. I'm from Weave Music. This is our office space. Thank you so much for coming over. What a great turnout. I'm going to spend the next few minutes just explaining a little bit about our product and what we do here in this beautiful office space. So just give me 1 second. I want to lower this stand. There we go. Okay, that's better. So 1 second. I have my phone here with me, and I would like you to see, there we go. I would like you to see exactly what I'm doing. So we have been developing a running app that will pick up your cadence through the phone sensors and will adapt the music to the cadence you're running at, basically the BPM of the music. We're a music technology company that we have developed a fitness product. So what I'm going to do, as you can see here, there's two modes. There's a match, master, right, and fixed tempo, but I'm just going to demonstrate the first mode. So imagine you're out, you put your headphones on, and you have downloaded our app, and you will start. And so the phone is waiting for me to start moving so it can pick up my cadence. I'm going to fake it over here, and so if I start running and go faster, so you can probably understand that. And if I go even faster, and then pull it back down again. Okay, so that was a small demonstration. Thank you. So the way we, just very quickly to say that the way we do this is from the more observant of you that noticed, this is not just time stretching, but we are also creating new remixes at different BPMs that will reflect the genre that is appropriate for these BPM ranges. Now, I'm probably using a lot of terminology here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go to one of our projects. So this is our Weave mixer. What happens here is we use the original stems of a song, and stems are the individual elements of it. We send it out to production teams that we ask them to create remixes at different BPMs. Here, on the screen, I have the project of the song we just listened to in the app. This is I Love It from Iconopop. And the original song is at 126 BPM. And so for this one, we asked the producers to create a remix at 85 and at 170. When they finished all the work and we were happy about the remixes, we created this piece of software so we can combine all the stems from all the different BPMs and also allow us to have a little bit more control of which stem should play at which BPM. And so I'm going to start from the original BPM. I'm going to go all the way down. You're going to probably start hearing the lower BPM kind of cross-fading in as we go down. And just a small explanation, on the left here, I have the BPM. And the crosshair is basically crushing all the stems that are playing for any given BPM. So as I'm gonna go down, the 85 BPM stems are gonna stop playing. I'm gonna go back up and then go all the way up to 170 so that we can hear a little bit more detail about what's happening in the music. Okay, here we go.
I got this feeling on the summer day when you were gone. I crashed my car into the bridge. I watched I let it burn. Threw your stuff into a
And so you can clearly hear there's a different remix. The beats have changed dramatically.
I don't care.
And so I'm going to quickly go up to 126. And I'm going to ramp it up more and more.
Feeling on the summer day when you were gone. I crashed my car into the bridge. I watched I let it burn. I threw your stuff into a bag and pushed it down the stairs. I crashed my car into the bridge. I don't care.
And so at 170, there's a drum and bass remix playing.
You're on a different road. I'm in the Milky Way. You want me down.
I'm gonna go back down again.
I am up in space. You're so damn hard to please. We gotta kill this switch. You're from the 70s, but I'm
Okay, so this is mainly, yeah. Thank you. This is in a nutshell what we have been developing in the last few years. Now that we have honed this part of adaptability that we consider is part of the future of music technology, not only controlling the BPM of the song and therefore the appropriate arrangement, we also have made progress into creating song-to-song transitions, and so characteristics from the end and beginning of songs will be analyzed and therefore will create ideal transitions so that song to song can connect for whatever BPM and whatever remix we're listening to. And we are, probably that's it for me. And so yeah, this is us. Thank you so much for coming. And I hope you enjoy the hackathon.
Okay. Thank you so much, Con, and thanks again, Weeb, for hosting us. So, up next, you're probably wondering, what is this arcade cabinet console? And we're going to hear a little bit about this from Alan Riley from Death by Audio Arcade. So we'll just take a minute to get set up here. Stay tuned.
Yeah, is there a heavy style? Very smart. Is that
Let's bring this all the way to the left. Yeah? That'll work? Okay.
now? I'm not sure what. I can see that this way. So if it shows, it may just show. Okay. Is it mirrored or is it separate? So what you want to do. So can you see the let's see here. This is what we'll do. I didn't realize what order we were in. So what I would like to do is have this. Oh, wait, here we go. So the other question is, okay. Yeah, please. Yep. Yep. Okay, cool. What's that? There are, okay. Okay, cool. Let me just see if my audio is set up to do that.
Of course it is. Let me see. This is. Where's the sound coming from? The video?
It's coming out of OBS. Yeah, so, and I'm streaming to Twitch.
So this is going to be able to do the advantage.
It's going out of HDMI into a TV, I guess.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe Jack, you had it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's often
The initial thing it said it was like right on one.
Moved it to 5. I'm sorry.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Volume settings.
We're having some. Something, it's primarily showing visual information.
There's no audio coming through. That's very.
This channel, there's only certain slides that will have audio, so like something also the playback is also very weirdly slow
Choppy,
for
yeah.
some reason.
I'm pretty sure it's because it's transferring stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
And we can't.
So I'm not sure. I mean, I've never had this issue either, so I'm not sure why.
It's either coming through the HDMI, it's very choppy.
Yeah. For some reason, like the playback speed is super slow. It's like playing at a slow frame rate for some reason. But I wouldn't worry about it, and I would just.
Let me give you.
Because I think so the streaming and sending HDMI.
Yeah, I think we're straining it. For sure.
You guys good? Anything I can I think it's kind of Alan's.
No, same thing, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
You guys are in
see
good
if
shape
I
then?
can do
The
anything
live stream is
to-
going well and all that? Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to stop. Oh, because it's outputting, 1080 video.
Yeah.
So I could stop.
You tell me if you.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm gonna stop the stream. Well, there's the
This is running better
yeah.
now the streaming.
Yep. So I'm gonna do.
Yeah, maybe the screens because you're extending.
Yeah.
When you mirror the screens, I think that might.
Well, that's not an option.
Okay. But you wanna you're gonna move this to the next screen, so it's only playing from here.
In order to control the slides,
Okay. Do you have the window, the external window? Are you gonna?
is that not over there anymore? It must have stopped. Thanks. Cool.
That's what you want to be projecting?
Now, so, okay, cool.
All right, I think we're ready to go. Here's Alan Riley with AV Synthesis and Video Games.
Hi, good morning. My name's Alan Riley, and I'm a video artist and educator based here in Brooklyn. I am also a member of an organization called Death by Audio Arcade that's based here in Brooklyn. We're a not-for-profit organization that specializes in creating unique physical hardware implementations of independent video games. We're based out of a venue called Wonderville that's an indie arcade bar where you can play. It sounds like, I think we're having a little bit of
It's
feedback. Yeah.
Closer to the mic if you can.
Yeah. Maybe like cut some treble. Yeah, so at Wonderville you can play a unique collection of independent arcade cabinets like Video Freak. And this, I'm here today to tell you a little bit about this arcade cabinet, Video Freak, which is a game that I designed in collaboration with Death by Audio Arcade. And you can play it here today at the Experiential Music Hackathon. Yeah, so the game will be running throughout the day here. So Video Freak is a video art arcade game. It combines the gameplay of a classic style arcade game with the analog physical electronics of a video synthesizer. I designed the game and the electronic audiovisual system. The cabinet was designed, the physical wooden enclosure was designed by Mark Kleback and Nick Santinello, and the painting and visual design of the cabinet was done by the artist Tim Feit. The title Video Freak is a reference to the 1960s and 70s video art and documentary collective Video Freaks, who were essential to the development of video as a creative medium and helped to create a movement in participatory media that still resonates today. So check out Video Freaks. Now, playing Video Freak, the arcade game, involves manipulating an analog audio-visual feedback loop that's built into the cabinet. So you can see some of the electronics that are built inside of the cabinet. The player's movement causes ripples in the waves of feedback. Some of these videos seem like I'm streaming to multiple locations here, so I'm having some frame rate, so apologize for the slowdown, but it'll just allow you to really see some of the more granular details in slow motion. The gameplay is inspired by a subgenre of the shoot 'em up genre of arcade games called manic shmups, in which the screen becomes completely full of bullets and lasers, and often involves a second button to slow down your movement to assist in avoiding things. In Video Freak, this slow down button just kind of helps to emphasize the player's connection to the physical movement of the waveforms within the feedback loop. So the game has no ending. It's not a game that you can win. It's an experiential game. The purpose is to swish around in the video feedback. The game also features an installation of CRT monitors. So a couple of those here. Sometimes I mix in additional video artwork that I've created using video synth equipment, and even set up some additional mixers and feedback loops for people to play with to kind of learn more about the underlying systems within the game. So this is some documentation from an installation that Death by Audio Arcade did at the Smithsonian American Art Museum in August 2019. So just a little bit more about the internal structure of the cabinet. The game runs in Unity on a Windows machine. The VGA output of this PC goes into a composite video converter. You can also see, I didn't mention this earlier, but in my slides you can see some other video art that I created and mixed in here. So the VGA signal gets converted to composite video. That composite signal goes into an MX Pro video mixer. That is the kind of tool that you would use to do things like this. But in this case, we are sending the output from the mixer into another box, which is a color processor. And this is the kind of thing that you would use to adjust like the brightness and the hue of your VCR. But then that signal goes back into the mixer, creating a feedback loop. So just to illustrate what this system looks like. And you can use any other source to create a feedback loop like this with an analog video mixer and another device. So for example, you could send a Nintendo Entertainment System. So this, I think of this as sort of like it's kind of like in the tradition of something like a prepared piano, something like the pianos that were created by the artist Namjoon Paik. So something where you're taking a familiar object and then transforming the way that it functions and kind of altering both the sounds or the function of that instrument, but also maybe altering the way that we understand ourselves in relation to that instrument or tool. So Paik also did experiments that were very significant to the development in video, creating prepared television sets after he began experimenting with pianos. So there's a kind of an interesting movement from like, altering musical instruments and then altering video instruments. It's just some other background in terms of my work in experiential art. For many years I was a monitor at a place called the Dream House that's at 275 Church Street in Manhattan. It's an art installation created by the artists Lamont Young and Marian Zazila, and it's a permanent installation. It's a sound and light environment. While I was working there, I even created a bootleg version of Marian Zazila's hanging sculptures. Oh, apologies. This was exhibited at a public event in Providence, Rhode Island called Foo Fest. So you can see that sort of copies some of the features of that. Let's see. So later I began experimenting with other kinds of experiential artwork. I started to experiment with some electronic signals and did a project where I created an environment where you sit at a computer kiosk and browse the internet through a prepared Ethernet cable that would send the electronic pulses of your internet traffic back into the monitor and audio system of the room. Apologies, there's no audio coming from my computer today, so other forms of experience. But you can kind of see some of the visual distortions that are created by the packet traffic. And then, yeah, this is just another later experiment with that same system using some other video mixing equipment. Yeah, just a little bit about video synthesis. This is a video synthesis image that I created using a tool called the Sandine Image Processor. I learned this method of creating art while I was a graduate student in electronic integrated arts at the New York State College of Ceramics in Alfred. This tool was created by Dan Sandine, sort of who published free instructions for building these synthesizers, and some students in the 80s built this Sandine IP at Alfred. Yeah, and I'll not get into the step-by-steps of this today, but just some other video synthesis imagery created with the Sandine image processor. And then just one quick transition back to Video Freak. One of my earliest experiments with the Sandine was just running video game systems into it, similar to the diagram that I showed earlier, incorporating kind of interactive gaming into interactive video art. And several years later, I had the opportunity to be an artist in residence at the Lower East Side Ecology Center, Gowanus E-Waste Warehouse, where I got back into that practice and had some public workshops where people could come and play video games and mix the signals from those games to kind of create video game video art. So here's just some images of those workshops. And this is a recording of one of those sessions. So in the context of that residency, I was then, that's when the conversation started with Death by Audio Arcade to create video.
Thank you, Alan. Alan Riley. And up next, we're going to set up for a talk from Johann Diedrich, A Quiet Life, Attuning Our Attention to Environmental Sounds. So give us a moment to set up. Apologies that we're running a little bit late. This is kind of typical for the hackathons. So.
Oh yeah, we need to.
You have more of the arcades at Warnerville right now?
Yeah.
Are you working at Warnerville or with Warnerville?
I work at Beam Center, which is a youth development organization
Okay.
in Brentwood that works all over the city.
Yeah.
Wonderville is a venue that's owned by my friends Mark and Steph.
Okay, amazing. Because
Mark.
next Saturday I'm performing live there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So you know Mark, or do you know Yi?
So I'm with like a music collective called Newport Culture Society.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar. I chatted with Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm
You know
gonna
Sean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The video star.
Yeah, I just met him the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He said he's not open.
Cool. Yeah.
And then so. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's really Alan.
Oh, is that ours or yours?
Yes, it is. It's yours.
Let's leave it up here. We already have it.
So.
I actually just ran a 4-mile race in Prospect Park this morning.
You fought my race?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm running a half marathon tomorrow.
You are? Where at?
The central part. It's in the morning.
Oh, okay, cool. Feels nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice day for a run.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
But, it's funny, because your guys' work is like, would have been helpful maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Hello? Yeah, this is good. Thank you. Share screen? Sorry? Oh. This is the link. This one?
No, it's possible the link changed.
Okay. How can I?
You can just go to your calendar and try to find it.
Yeah, okay. Google.com? I don't use Chrome very much, only for. As you can see here. No, that's cool. This guy.
You can present just your tab, mute your microphone.
Mute my microphone. Turn it off. Can I do full screen? Just my whole screen? Oh, join Hangout. Gotcha.
Share screen.
I can do my whole screen. That's totally fine. It's not letting me share. I can't.
Can you click there?
Oh, I click this and then hit share. Got it.
Oh no. This is
Let me try it one more time. I can also restart Chrome.
is it because are you in a private browser?
No. Do you want me to restart Chrome? I'll give it one shot.
The other option is we just don't do the slides, but show that across the board.
Yeah, whatever's easiest for you. Oh, sorry. Okay, well, geez. No, don't be sorry.
I know, so.
Oh, great. All right. Everyone, please welcome Johann Dietrich.
Hello? Hey, how's it going? All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Johann. Nice to meet all of you. I make installations, performances, and sculptural objects that let people explore the world through their ears. My work surfaces vibratory histories of past interactions inscribed in material and embedded in space, peeling back sonic layers to reveal hidden memories and untold stories. I share my work with people through listening tours, like taking people out to city parks to listen to sand, or building wind instruments to play with the wind above rivers. I also teach hardware workshops, and where people build things like this mobile listening kit, or analog noise sound monsters. Also handheld live samplers that let you take sounds from your environment and play it back musically, as well as open source software like this environmental sound classifier that will give you text about all the sounds that it hears in your environment. My acoustic explorations have taken me to places like the Sierra Nevadas, and more recently doing research around the Newtown Creek, which separates Brooklyn and Queens. I'm currently a participant at the Recurse Center, which is a self-directed, community-driven educational retreat for programmers in New York City. If you're interested in the Recurse Center, please let me know. I'd love to talk to you about it. And after Recurse, I'm going to be an artist in residence at Pioneer Works, doing a technology residency around audio machine learning and machine listening systems. So please come check me out there in the spring. I also spent time at this place called Floating Point, which is a studio in Greenpoint full of engineers, technologists, programmers, designers that make interactive and experiential installations. So today I'm going to talk about how we can attune our listening to environmental sounds to inspire new ways of music making. And I'm going to do that through 3 projects. The first is called Quiet Music Weak Sounds. I was able to spend a month in Kyoto teaching sound art workshops to the community there. While I was there, I taught 3 workshops. One is about building a mobile listening kit. One was a field recording workshop, and the other was an Aeolian harp workshop. So with the mobile listening kit workshop, we built this, which is a Good Vibrations mobile listening kit. It allows you to plug in microphones on one side, either a contact microphone or a hydrophone, which is an underwater microphone, or a probe microphone for going inside of materials. And then you can plug your headphones on the other side, and then you can turn it on and turn the volume up, and it amplifies subtle sounds in your environment that you normally wouldn't be able to hear without the use of this device. So with this, we're going to take people out and go on these tours and listen to things like crosswalks. Also listening to ATM machines. And listening to the subtle bubbles of waves coming onto the shore. So this is what the innards of the mobile listening kit looks like. I designed this circuit board that's basically a portable amplifier that just takes in small sounds, blows it up like a microscope, and allows you to hear things that you normally wouldn't be able to hear. So with this workshop, a group of people came together, and we spent the day basically building this board from scratch. A lot of people in the workshop had never done any soldering or any kind of hardware projects. So with me and my collaborator in the project, we worked with these different people from different backgrounds to sit around for the day, did a lot of diagrams to kind of explain how the components got together. And then at the end of the day, we all had our mobile listening kits that we then went out and used to do some acoustic explorations. The second day, we did a field recording workshop where we took the mobile listening kits along with conventional field recorders and went to a local temple to record sounds, collect sounds from this temple. And so people were using the mobile listening kit along with the field recorder to really dig deep into this environment and find sounds that they were interested in. And with that, we came back to the workshop space and we spent a few hours doing sort of like a soundscape workshop where we took the sounds and mixed them together, and then we all shared with each other the different interpretations of this space through the sounds that we collected. And the final workshop that I did was an Aeolian harp workshop. Aeolian harps are wind instruments, or they're stringed instruments that are played by the wind. Essentially, with them, you put them outside, and if a strong, consistent gust of wind goes over them, it vibrates these strings and produces this really beautiful, ethereal sound. So me and my collaborator on the right went down to Osaka and met with this instrument builder who builds custom wooden instruments from scratch. And he basically gave us a really quick workshop on how to build Aeolian harps that we were then able to take back with us up from Osaka to Kyoto, and then we had our Aeolian harp workshop with a different group of people. We basically spent the day building these Aeolian harps together with wood and nails and hammers. And after we got the strings in and put it all together, we went outside and played with them. Aeolian harps are really interesting instruments because unlike, I think, our relationship to more conventional instruments where we have agency over making them play, you really can't make an Aeolian harp play. You have to really be patient with the environment and with the wind conditions in order for it to make sound. So we spent a lot of time just waiting for this, for wind to actually come through and for us to play with it. We tried to experiment going closer to the river. We didn't really get much wind there, but eventually we did find a place above the river on this bridge where we were getting a lot more wind and more sound. And so I can play a bit of a sample of what this sounds like. So we actually found that it wasn't really easy to, like I mentioned, to get it to sound. So we actually used the mobile listening kit, and right down here is a contact microphone on the Aeolian harp. So what you're hearing is basically the amplified vibrations inside of the Aeolian harp, making that beautiful music. So moving on to this project called Harvester. Harvester is a handheld sampler that lets you take in sounds from your environment and play it back musically. This looks like this. Essentially, it has microphones right here, and it can take back any sample of music, and then it'll take it and put it into a pentatonic scale, so then you can play it back musically with your hands. This is the software for it. It's written in Pure Data. And it's basically a hat that goes on top of your Raspberry Pi. Yeah, it's open source. All the code and hardware and schematics are online. You can build it yourself. I had the opportunity to teach a workshop in London with a group of people. We spent one day building the hardware together. Again, a group of people who never really soldered before. And then the next day we built the software together and got it to work. And this is a little demo of how it works. So I'm going to whistle now. I did kind of a bad job there, so I'm going to whistle one more time. It has a simple looping function as well, so you can do kind of hands-free looping with it if you want to like put it down and then play other things along with it.
That's it.
Yeah, so for anyone who likes to play with winter streams, this is a good instrument for you. And the final project that I want to show is called Cerulean Waters. So as I mentioned, I've been doing a lot of research about the acoustic ecology in the Newtown Creek, which is a very environmentally compromised body of water. A lot of pollution and oil spills and industrial waste has kind of destroyed it as a habitat. So there's a lot of environmental remediation projects happening in the creek, mostly because of things like this. This is a sewage outfall pipe that basically dumps raw sewage into the creek anytime it rains over about 1/4 of an inch. You have these booms in the water that are basically trying to contain trash and sewage and oil from getting further into the creek. So if you go on the creek, you'll see like literal trash in there. You'll also see crude oil in there. There's a natural gas handling facility very close by. There's all sorts of different kind of like plastics and industrial, not nice things going on over there. Scrap metal, trash, lots of recycling gets processed out there. All the trash in Queens gets processed over in this area. There's this funny FedEx facility there that if you walk by it, you'll hear all of these bird calls, and you're probably like, oh, what are all these birds doing here? They're not. It's actually fake birds that are the sounds of them are being projected from speakers on top of this FedEx facility that are meant to deter birds from coming in and roosting and nesting inside of this FedEx facility. Another talk about that, if you're interested, on Tuesday, I'm giving out Recurse Center. But anyways, that's a nice plug. So I went out with this guy. This is Willis. He's the executive director of the Newtown Creek Alliance, which is doing a lot of environmental remediation work on the creek. So he let us come out when he was doing a water sampling expedition that he does every week to kind of monitor the water quality. So I took out a hydrophone with me. Again, a hydrophone is an underwater microphone that lets you record sounds in water. And this is my partner. She was collecting water samples for another project that's not really music related, but basically she was trying to collect water after one of these combined sewage overflow events that where sewage and fecal matter basically gets dumped into the creek. If you collect it, there are all these bacteria that's in there, and if you culture these bacteria in a particular way, it creates this really beautiful cerulean color that she then dyed on textiles to make a textile installation. Really cool project. And my other collaborator, Ethan Edwards, did some video work while we were out there, and Ethan and I combined the field recordings, the video. I did some original music composition to create this performance called Cerulean Waters. I'll play a minute or so of that. If you're interested in anything that I mentioned around sound art and sound studies and acoustic ecology and urbanism, there's a conference happening at NYU this Friday and Saturday called Unsounding the Relational City. I'll be performing that Cerulean Waters piece Friday at 8 p.m. So if you're around, please come by. And with that, thank you for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Johan.
Thank you.
And up next, Dr. Yago de Quay with Biometric Art, how to make music using gesture and brainwave interfaces. So just give us a moment to set that up. And our final speaker after that will be Rina Anakwe. So stay tuned.
This world is small.
And then, did you get the Google Hangout invite? If you can present your slides to the Hangout, then we'll get in video recording and the YouTube live stream.
Into the Google Hangout. Oof, that's going to be a... Let's see if we can do that. First of all, let me extend the screen, which is done.
Should be like a Google Calendar invite.
All right, and so what you want is for me to go Google Hangout, right? Pull this window here.
Have an invite to this. I think you actually accepted the invite.
Right, I did.
There it is.
Right here, this one?
So there's the video call.
Ah, right.
To join.
Let me join right here. Oh, that's. I was confused. I was like, am I going there, or is this going to be join Hangout?
And maybe mute yourself and turn off the video.
Turn off the video.
Join, and then we'll share. You can hopefully share just the other screen.
Let's see. Share screen. And perfect. It'll be this screen. That's the other one.
I can crop it if we need.
I think we're good, man.
To see how the presentation looks. But you want that on your screen here.
Yeah, that part only is fine. I'm just gonna pull it here. It's fine.
Set up over there and
Yeah, yeah.
quick line check if you have audio.
Okay.
Do you have audio going out of HDMI?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so we'll check the HDMI.
Okay. Let me. That's fine. Yeah, I'll play a little audio so we can make sure that it is working.
Because nothing is coming through the lead.
Video here. Cool. That kind of works. Yeah, that's fine. Good? All right, hello everybody. Thank you so much. My name is Yago, and the Dr. Yago is really, I should have not have put that abbreviation. I'm so sorry. If it was Dr. Dre, like something cool, that would have been interesting, but it's not. So it's 2 a.m. and I can't go to sleep again. I've been having panic attacks for the last 2 months because I was worried for my future. It was one of those cold, bitter New England winters. I was living in Boston and I just graduated Berklee College of Music. You see, the thing is, I was in a crisis. I had practiced for 10 years to be a jazz guitarist, but at the end of my degree, I'd fallen out of love with it. And I knew I wanted to continue doing music, but I didn't want to play any kind of traditional instrument. So I thought to myself, I'm going to make my own instrument, except I didn't have the skills, the luthiering skills to build something. So I joined an engineering school and immediately fell in love with a small coterie of weirdos amidst technical bridge builders. We were just hackers, getting equipment that we could scavenge around engineering departments and breaking it apart and trying to make art with it. And what I fell in love with was using the body as an instrument. And I'll show you one of the earliest projects with this. So I brought my skills in composing original music, but I thought about using gestures, like air guitar instead of a real guitar to make sound. And I would use devices such as cameras or inertial systems, like little small boxes on the body, because we had an interesting team there working with motion capture systems for film. And I was like, well, instead of using this to animate Golem, how about if we use this to animate music in real time? So this was one of the presentations that I was doing. I was really interested in working with dancers because they had the whole training of learning how to create these choreographies and how to match that with sound. But I was interested in inverting that relationship. Instead of dancing to music, you're making music by dancing. And as I was doing these projects, I was invited once to go to UT Austin. And a friend of mine was like, okay, cool, you're here in Austin. I have to show you to these two friends of mine. They're kind of quirky, but I think you're going to like them. And I was like, okay, where are they at? They're in this small little warehouse in Buda outside of Austin, Texas. And I was like, they're in the warehouse, okay, just 2 guys, and yeah, they have a band. And I'm like, okay, 2 guys in a band in a massive warehouse outside of Austin. Okay, I'll check it out. I was thinking this is gonna be like, typical Austin rock music or country music. So I go there, and I was immediately stupefied by the fact that they had no instruments. I was like, what is this? Instead, they had all these massive devices, and what struck the most was this big column with coils around them. And I was like, what is this for? And like, oh, we play music using Tesla coils. And we heard you do, stuff with gestures, and we're kind of having fun here. How about you just plug in your interactive music system in between our Tesla coils, put on a Faraday suit, and trying to make some music. Our Tesla coils accept MIDI, and I'm sure you can just send MIDI out and see what happens. And I'll show you a video, but it turns out that we bonded very well, and I ended up touring with them for 1 year across the United States. At science fairs, at commercial shows, and art events, and half of the shows didn't work as we expected. And that's a robot playing the drums. We also did we also plugged in just the guitar. You can see. So it's a modified guitar that sent out MIDI. And that really allowed me, that world allowed me to explore motion capture, but also using machine learning to capture a choreography. So that was when I started moving away from just gestures into capturing entire movements, like a whole gesture across time, like a maybe 10-second long choreography. So we would train the system to understand the XYZ of a limb over time, and then the machine learning would try to guess, as you're replicating this gesture, where you are in this choreography that you taught the system. And then MIDI notes would play out as you were dancing to it. And so it would translate that into MIDI, and then that would turn out into be a 1 million volt instrument. But what this really taught me is that crucial thing that I didn't pay attention to before was to have that lightning bolt hit my hand when I did a gesture really helped audiences understand that my gesture was causing the sound, which is something very hard for new audiences to understand when you just have a camera that's filming and you're doing this and then a sound comes out. People just, the ultimate question they have is, what the fuck is happening? And so having a lightning bolt, having a visual cue really changed my artwork completely. And therein I started working entirely with audiovisual projects. And everything that I did was not just to dance and create sound, but dance to create sound and visuals. And this was one of the projects that came out of that. We had a big sort of holographic projection, in a scrim that sort of created this Minority Report screen in front of the performer, then would have this interface, like a sort of Guitar Hero, where you would touch objects and they would come in, and then you can have like notes coming down and you could tap them as they're coming down, sort of to make it very legible to the audiences what it is that was happening and what the performer was doing. My name is Yago de Quay, and I love making music wristbands. You're gonna help me by contributing both musically and visually to this performance. Everybody on the left side right now. And we had audiences as well. Raise your hands and do a fist pump. Awesome. We had 3,000 light up wristbands on audience members. And let's get the whole house off. Thank you so much, CS. So you see the dots following my hands, and there's this sort of filter. And so in this part of experience, my interest was not just in me creating music, but like offering these devices among the audience members. That's why we had those 3,000 light up wristbands. Then when they start raising their fists, it would light up, and then we had cameras on the ceilings, and that would track the activity of the different audience sections, and then that would affect the music. It was all sort of an orchestra. Later on, I went to UT Austin again, but this time to do a PhD, and my supervisor was like, okay, cool, you do the sound and gesture stuff, but now, you gotta do something else. And I was racking my brain like, okay, what should I do now that it's not just gesture? Well, I moved up in the body and I started focusing on the brain. How can we use the brain as a source of data to animate music? So, let me go to the other slide. So I started working with EEGs attached to my brain, on my head, and then they would detect different kinds of moods. So we would train a system to detect up to 6 different mind states that I would be in during a performance. And then that will allow me, during the show, to then meditate and go into different activities in my brain, like an excitement, concentration, meditation, for example, or imagining objects, fluids going left or right, and I could detect that. And in the circumventing the original way to make music, those visuals would then make sound, would make visuals again. So at this point, we were playing with the idea of control, right? You can use your brain to control some sounds and visuals, but what about if you get exposed to a blast of light and you lose control? So that's where you see the glitching starts to happen in the sound and in the visuals. In this performance, you can't see very well, but in this picture, I'm actually wearing a boot because I had injured myself while playing soccer, and I couldn't perform on stage anymore for about 6 months. And I was thinking, okay, what kind of art am I going to do where I can't be the performer anymore? So I thought about doing spaces where other people could perform and opening up the technology so that people would go into a space and we would have the same technologies I was using, motion capture, using optical systems or inertial systems, and give it to audience members and allow them to explore a space and themselves be an agent in this environment. So this was a residency at Bell Labs where we had an immersive room with cameras set up on the ceiling that would track blobs of people, and then we would know if they were close to each other. And the theme, or the impetus to do this project, was to create this climate change simulator that would be a sort of choose-your-adventure, an open-ended environment, where as people came in and interacted with each other and interacted with different objects, they would change the environment in a very abstract way. And leave a legacy for the next users. And this kept going on and on and on, this system that just kept accruing data from users. These are just models of the interactions. the last project I want to show you is, as I was moving, through time away from me as the performer to enabling other people to be performers, to then enabling even more people. So instead of having little small groups, the last project I did was, how can we get entire audiences, thousands of people, to contribute, to be participants on stage, or with the person on stage, right? Instead of having these small environments with maybe 5 or 10 people. And so the last project was with Intel. We created this massive multiplayer mobile app where people could play a sort of tap hero, painting game, trivia, and puzzle games with with the speakers and performers on stage, so that we can sort of bring back that idea of being a tribe around a fire where anybody can get up and start singing or recite poetry or what it is, but you can't do because there's thousands of people. So how can we make that participatory environment in a place where there's thousands of people? So we did that by mediating it with simple apps that people would be able to use. And that was actually done with Dan Gorlick, who's back down there, who did the entire front end. He's a fantastic artist and developer as well. And I'll show you just a quick video of how it turned out.
You are missing a lot.
Ow, what?
I don't know. I mean,
But I'm pressing it though.
it's just a base plate. Oh, it's wrong.
Where's the fucking
It doesn't matter too much. The thing is that we had these instruments, sort of tap along, tap hero, so that audience members could then listen to the taps of a tablet player on stage, and then these notes would fall on their mobile phones and they would tap in real time. 3,000 people would do a sort of tap hero along with the performer. Well, anyway, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yago. And our final presenter for the day is Rina Anakwe with Building Worlds Through Sound, Visuals, and Scent. And this will involve some burning of a fern needle if anyone happens. I don't know if that's an allergy, but we thought
essential oil.
essential oils. So
Getting the scents going as I start.
fantastic.
Give me a moment to set up.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Strong fans in there. Yeah. Am I mirrored? Hold on. Am I mirrored? What am I doing? Where is my... It's just a desert looking thing? Dear God. I can't even...
Actually, yeah, you're mirrored.
Oh, I'm married? No, I don't want to be married. Oh, how crazy is my desktop looking right now? That's what this looks very clean. But
Yeah, I've
it's
seen
so small. But it's actually very scary. My God. Oh, it's because I'm connected to that big monitor, huh? No, not color. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sheesh. Oh, thank God. I was like, I can't see a damn thing on here. Okay. So I can present, but I need to drag this to the other.
It's coming through, right? We're not seeing that.
You're not seeing that? Okay, so then I can go. Oh, I can. The thing. Oh, that's why. Wait, which one do I need to be on?
Is the projector off? Yeah. Might be helpful just to see.
Because I don't want a mirror, but. Oh, do you want to see what it looks like? That's what it's looking like. But if I mirror it, I can't see. Hold on a second. Okay. This is the little
So I
one.
think the trick is going to be that you have to like drag it over there, but then
But is there, the thing is that it should be allowing me, I'm in this one, right? Okay. Because it should allow me to like move it. Oh, there it is.
then you can't see your mouse.
Yeah.
It's coming in. I can see it moving.
Oh, can you see it moving?
If you want to double click on it, you'll
I can't
occupy the
see
entire-
anything. Okay.
Yeah, we can't see.
Yeah. Is it in the middle there? Where is it? I can't see anything.
We're just like angle this.
Yeah, for a second. Because I can't see anything. Oh.
Yeah. That's maybe hard to try. If you see my open, I can see if the projector will react to it. If it doesn't, just the screen?
Yeah, because if I see it just for a second.
So we're going to go to you.
Can we just do the 1/8 inch for the audio?
How the? Okay, this is so confusing. Yeah. So scale?
Scale.
More space?
Less space.
Less space? It's just that, okay, thank you. I can't see where the, okay, is the mouse over there right now? Where is it? Oh, okay, there it is. I can't really. Oh, perfect, okay. Let's just come over
And then
here.
hit Control Command F.
Yeah. Is it? Perfect. Thank you.
This is going to add complexity. But can we try to join the Google Hangouts?
Oh, snap.
Share your
You
screen.
can get rid of the title by going to view.
Oh, yeah, it's just because I'm in whatchamacallit right now. Where's the Google Hangouts? Okay, there it is.
You can do Google Hangouts here. This one.
Oh, I can do it over there? Damn.
You scoot your mouse up to view, or maybe there's little blocks. So you can use the third icon.
I think when I come back over, though, it'll go full screen, right? How the, where is my, oh.
Let's just
Is it
bring
gonna
up,
just, is it gonna disappear soon? No? Damn.
It's good. Let's just bring up Chrome here.
Oh, shit. Well, that was terrifying. Where is my mouse? Sorry. Dang. These screens are too big. Okay, I'm just trying to drag this window over. Nah, it's not letting me.
Try using 3 fingers on the pad and move it over.
So I'm just trying to drag this over to here.
So now here.
Yeah, let's just get it set up here and then we'll go from there.
Okay. I'm like, This one?
The actual presentation.
Oh, that one was over. That one should be over here. Oh. Where this one is. That's where this one is. It's on this LG TV thing. Yep.
Perfect, yeah. So we'll share that.
Okay.
Now we just gotta get
The thing
information
back.
over there.
Damn. Okay. It's not. The whole thing is it's not because of. Where's my mouse?
Can I see this? Is your mouse there?
We just need to find the slides. Oh, there.
Because it's still in full. Oh, okay, so this way.
To make that full screen.
Because I was trying to go in my present. I think it's because I'm in the presenter thing.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really finicky.
It's okay.
But if you go to Chrome in here, I think it'll work. If you just go, get your mouse back. Okay. And then go to View, and then always show it to more in full screen. Get rid of that.
Okay. No, it's.
We need the presenter instead.
Yeah. Where do they? Oh, is that my mouse over here? It's all good. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, there it is.
Do we know how to get the presenter notes back?
Yeah. Okay. Notes. And where are they? Why are they over here? Honestly, I'm over it. I'm about to just open this in 2 different places. Yeah, but the thing is that am I here? To go to swipe. Okay, okay. Is this a 3? Thank you. Okay, is there sound? Yeah, can we do that? Do we have an audio kit, an aux? Right. The thing though is that the sound is coming out from one of the slides.
That's okay.
So I don't know. I mean, I can test it.
Okay, well then we'll do the audio kit.
It's never worked, but yeah, it might get. It's never worked.
I'm not sure if it's gonna even work. Okay.
So, can I plug this in here?
Sure, sure, sure.
And mouse go.
Oh, okay. I'll get it back.
Okay, let's see. So then option click on the sound and headphones.
Yeah, it's headphones.
Okay.
Okay.
Now let's just turn it up and do a
Yeah.
little check.
Let me just go over here, cause no, not yet. Where's my mouse? Okay. Oh, this is. Okay.
Make sure everything's set.
Okay.
I guess you'll need to see the screen.
No, I don't need to see the screen, but I'm almost wanting to like not use these notes. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I mean, I could use my phone instead just because it seems to be so difficult. I'll figure it out while I'm doing it. I just might need a little time to mess with the mouse. Right, I don't think they can see either.
If we just move this a little bit, then maybe you can kind of see and we.
Is that fine? Okay. Yeah, can they see over there? I mean, I can just go and use my phone to do my notes instead if that works. It's just because I need to know where the thing is to play the audio at a point. That's fine. If people can see the screen from here, that's fine. Okay, no worries. Okay, thank you. Oops, I have all that stuff on there. I can use the. Sure.
So.
Oh, is it the screen?
In our Hangouts, let me
Oh, the Hangouts is right there.
stop.
Oh, okay, that one. Because we got rid of the other one. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you everyone for your patience. And please welcome Rina Anakwe.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Rina Nakwe, also known as DJ Lady Lane. And I'm talking about building worlds through sound, visuals, and scent. When I was doing my second master's degree at NYU's ITP program, I did my thesis on creating relaxation for folks in immersive environments. And I used sound, visuals, and scent in order to create moments of calm and reflection. So at present, I'm an interdisciplinary artist that creates interventions based in sound, visuals, and scent to circumvent the healthcare system barriers to entries for mental health. So specifically for marginalized communities, I'm trying to create environments that are not clinical in feeling, but are more in entertainment spaces, non-traditional gathering spaces, so that people can have moments for their mental health without having to worry about, do I have the right insurance card, do I have insurance at all, and other things that are usually applied towards communities of color, immigrants, queer people, trans people, everybody who's overlooked in this country. So you don't have to worry about insurance, but you can come to a performance. I use sound, sight, visuals, and scent. So I like to call it the 4 S's, and space as well. So I like to consider these 4 things when I'm thinking about how to create a space for somebody or just an audience in general. And it started from when I was at ITP. I had gone through a terrible relationship before I entered the program, but there was no time to process it. But because I was in the middle of a thesis, and if some of you have done a thesis here, this is no time to start getting into your personal issues. So, because you're having other personal issues like code breaking every 10 seconds. So I decided, hey, I should make this environment where I can surround people and kind of like create a cocoon. And throughout my time at ITP, I'd been creating a lot of projects that were based around making things that could surround you, like disrupting the architecture in the space or creating different feelings through lighting and storytelling. So speaking about each individual thing, I'll just go through what the 4 S's are and why I use them. So in my own work, I use my voice as an instrument. I also use field recordings, live sounds, and ASMR, a laptop, and a MIDI controller. I play with the different frequencies and layers in order to tell stories through sound, as well as using prose and other clips all together. And the reason I use this is because sound can be used in therapeutic ways to improve emotional and physical well-being. It can reduce anxiety, depression, and PTSD, and it can also improve your quality of life when it's used in intentional ways. You guys know that sometimes when you're put on certain music, it can change your whole mood. Like you can go from being really up here or from down here, depending on what type of place you're at in that moment. So that's the same thing that I do using sounds in abstract ways. I use sight because this is, especially for sighted people, I would specifically say, is because it's something that we're interacting with on a regular basis. You know, we have a lot of screens in our lives, and I thought that this is another way for me to connect with people, but to create relaxation. So in essence, it is a manipulation. I don't like to use that word, but it is a manipulation towards relaxation and reflection. So my first entry point into this was color psychology and color theory. And these are things that we encounter on a regular basis. And the reason I use this, as I was saying, is visual aids and stimuli can be used to create relaxation. And since we're used to screens, I wanted to be able to access people in a way that they're already used to. So that's why I was accessing live visuals through screens. And so in my own work, I use VDMX with a Wacom tablet. And so that's how I'm able to control things in real time. The next iteration of my work, I would like the sound and visuals to be reactive off of each other. The first iteration I did, I used Max MSP with a hacked-in Android phone that I was no longer using, and I used Touch OSC on it, but the issue was visually it looked like I was texting throughout the performance. So this is something that I'm actually currently working on, that I'm going to be working on at Abrams Art Center for a residency I have for 2020 to 2021, where I'm going to start working on the interactivity of the sound and visuals together. Now, scent is something that I've already started getting into your mind space right now. I'm lighting Fir Needle because I want to create some more relaxation, but also to connect to the green that's already in the space, right? And this, especially at this time in the season, this is a time where we're always bundled up, so it's just to create a little warmth in the room. So I worked with a lot of sensorial work when I got my first master's at the Actors Studio, and I always felt like that was one of the things that was missing from any of my interactions or viewing experiences. Like, I remember watching Tree of Life. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but I remember just, especially these expansive scenes of these massive trees or being in the forest, and I couldn't smell anything. And I didn't understand why, like, I'm seeing this green, I'm seeing this ground, all of this dirt, and I can't smell anything. And I really felt like that should be something that was in the room. So the reason I use scent is because it's a great way to get into people's memory space. Especially say with aromatherapy, this is a way that the smell receptors in the nose are stimulated, and then those messages are then sent to the nervous system, to the limbic system. And the limbic system is a part of the brain that handles memories and emotions. And so that's the reason I use scent, is because I'm trying to get into people's memory and emotional space so that I can help them to go from their current state in order to coax them into relaxation. Being in metropolitan areas, we don't often take time for ourselves or even realize that we're working at a pace that's up here all the time. Even when we're in moments of, say, calm. I don't know if the train system is really calm, but I feel like that's the moment where we're always going to the next point. We don't have the moments where we actually take a second and say, you know what, I need to be still right now. It's really important for everybody to have their quiet. So that's why I use scent in the work as kind of an unseen factor that's in the room, but is also creating another layer of relaxation. And space is kind of the biggest part to the immersion, because every work that I create is site specific, because it just has to merge into the architecture of the space. So the ways that I try to alter the space are through using the visuals, sometimes also use set design if that is allowed for the space, but usually it's through the visuals, the lighting, and then creating the sound as kind of another layer in order to envelop people. So each space is very different, but it plays a character in the transformation. So luckily I've been able to stage interventions in traditional performance spaces and unconventional ones, so that I can kind of have a range of knowing how people react in different places. Like right now, you guys, some of you are very lucky. Some of you are in little hardback chairs, but it's okay. We'll still make it work. But some of you are on couches, so there's some already a mode of you being able to relax a little bit more. But even still, it doesn't matter if you're sitting on the floor, if you're on the train, or if you're standing up, you're still able to give over to relaxation. And so that's what I try to do with each place and each space that we're in. So the reason that I started thinking about space is before I started at the Actors Studio, ITP, I didn't have a formal, I didn't go to art school. Like, I went to business school for undergrad, which is kind of wild. But I didn't go to art school, so I don't have art history in my, anywhere. So one of my friends who did go to art school was like, hey, you should start looking at Le Corbussier's meditation boxes, right? And maybe even look at the neo-concrete movement. So I started looking at these things, and I was like, oh, okay, you can take architecture and create spaces for people in public art spaces, or even in their homes, or by just changing the way that you interact with the piece. Like, even this concrete floor right now can become a relaxing space for somebody if you put that intention behind it, or if it's the way that it's placed. Right, so then I also started looking at the light and space movement, and a lot of you know James Turrell already, and also Doug Wheeler. So these are kind of people that have already worked with these mediums, and so they really influenced me to see how I could utilize a space in order to create a way for someone to escape, kind of, in a way. So I just want to show some examples of the work that I've done so that I can stop talking about it and you can just see it and hear it. The first one, let's see. Did it pop up? I'm not good with this switching between screens thing. Is it on that screen there or no?
We see the links.
You just see the links? Okay. We're gonna drag this. Oh. Did it drag? Okay. Oh, is there sound?
Yes.
Maybe they did. Maybe you expected more from yourself. It's really low. Or maybe you exceeded expectations today. However your day went, whether it was stressful, anxious, chaotic, put it on the back burner. Put it to the wayside, tuck it into your pocket for right now. Let's just let it go. Allow yourself the space, this time, this moment to just let it all go. I don't know where that window just went. Does anybody know where that window just went? No, it's not over there. I'm scared it's gonna just keep auto-playing. Well, let's pray on that. So that was an excerpt of a performance that I did at Sunday service at the Knockdown Center. And so that's the kind of the culmination of where my thesis started out. Was I was DJing at first, because that's my first entry into the sound world, I would say, is through DJing. So I was DJing sounds of other people's music, and then I decided that I should start trying to produce my own sounds. And so I used a looping pedal, an effects pedal, and then also created visuals in the background. I also use a cassette player because I like the sound of tape. Also, you can use a tape over and over and over again till it pops out, and you just put it back in with a pencil. And the textures are really beautiful with it. So I use a Porta Studio, a Tascam Porta Studio as well. So another excerpt is from the Cosmology of Water that I'm going to show you. Oh, technology. Here we are. It's all good. If I could find the mouse. Okay. Like maybe. Just maybe. Okay, well, I'm going to speak in the meantime about this piece. I had a residency last year at Issue Project Room where I examined the 5 elements of nature, and I created 3 rituals connecting to, so I'm Nigerian, I'm from the Igbo tribe, and I wanted to create, hey, I see another Nigerian here, hello. So I wanted to create rituals that were reconnecting to a diasporic practice, but then also taking in consideration my ancestral background, but then also where I'm at right now, because I don't live in Nigeria. So I thought, how can I create rituals that inform all the things that I'm going through, but then also other people that live outside of the diaspora? So I made the Cosmology of Water, which was a cleansing ritual where I took the element of water and used the materiality of that to create an environment where people could feel like they're inside the element of water. So this is the first ritual that I created at Issue Project Room, and sadly it does not want to play. get back to the presentation? Does anyone see the mouse on the screen? Yeah? Thank you. Say again? I'm just trying to get back to the presentation. Okay. So, really quickly, some of the things that are part of my process are creating scent tests. As you saw with the cosmology of water, I used dry ice, so that was the kind of the steam that you were seeing. So I used dry ice to disperse the scent, and so basically I've made different exploratoriums where I can explore the sound, the scent, and the space, and the visuals. So I'll do visual tests. I use After Effects and Cinema 4D in order to do that for the visuals. And then for the scent, I use essential oils, and I use kind of a collaging, a layering technique so that I'm putting things into the air that will not be offensive to people. When I first started, I did use scents that were offensive to people, but the feedback was terrible. So I decided that I should do things that were coaxing to people. I remember the first time I put white camphor into the air, and people did not like that. So we just go with relaxing scents for now. Then I'm showing you some examples of the work. This is how I was able to transform the space for the cosmology of water. Also work with a lighting designer, Kelly Shee, who's really incredible because she's just able to understand the language of lighting and how you can transform a space. So another thing that I really think is beautiful today is that you guys get to work together, and collaboration is definitely key. You don't need to know how to do everything because somebody else already knows how to do that. So once you bring your expertise together, you can really create some beautiful things. So that's what I was able to do with Kelly through the lighting, is also create the materiality of water. And so the second ritual I did was a wind and air ritual called Fast Forward to Silence, and I collaborated with another artist and friend of mine, Jonathan Gonzalez. And this was also the first performance that I did that was completely analog, so I didn't use any digital. Burn down the building, it is what it is. And I created a fire sound bath with the culmination of this. So yeah, this was another way I was able to transform the space. I also used sacred geometry in order to think about the architecture in terms of having 3 different stages. I used a screen similar to this for the visuals because I didn't want to have to projection map anything. During the cosmology of water, I did projection map into a small tunnel, and I plugged in one of the kettles that I was using for the dry ice, and it knocked out 1/2 of my circuitry. So that was fun. But a really great thing about using computers is they have batteries, so half of my sound was still going and no one knew what happened. So half of the sound knocked out, but and the visuals, but we still go. So yeah, I have showed you guys my work. I was going to do a small sound meditation, but is it okay to do a small sound? Okay. Very short. Very short. It's very short. Yeah, this is just a small preview of my work. If all of you actually that are not standing up, if you can all stand up and kind of move around in your bodies just a little bit. You've been sitting for a long time. I'm gonna take this off so I can move. But you've been sitting for a long time, and I just want you to kind of think about where you are in the space. Where is this mouse? There we go. And yeah, just think about how you got here today. What things that you want to do today. Close your eyes for a second. Take in a deep breath. You can make sound as you take it in, just and let it go. And I'm going to start playing these sounds, but you can take a seat now, relax back into your chairs, and kind of let go of everything that I just told you to think about. And just kind of clear out your mind and take a moment for yourself. And if you want to, you can close your eyes. You can not close your eyes. You can look at the visual that's on the screen. Yeah. Just really take this moment for yourself. Your whole entire week. You made it to Saturday. That's beautiful. You made it here. That's beautiful. This is where you're really